For the very first time yesterday, I had to excuse someone from the ceremonial space. Obviously, this affected me a lot more than I even thought it did because the event sort of carried over into my dream space. And now here I am, this rising, offering this story to you. My intention is to transmute this energy and also give some pointers, advice, guidance. Just maybe you will relate to something in this story and it will help you decide whether Kambô is the right fit for you, whether you're really ready to receive this medicine, or if there's another ego-based reason for you feeling called to the space. Let me clarify a little bit. So it started with the phone consultation with this woman who was just suffering. I felt for her so much. She had critical Lyme's disease and some other really intense gut stuff, let's just say. A lot of it seemed to be rooted in fear, and she knew this. So first it started with the phone consultation. I talked to this woman for over an hour, and usually my phone consultations are 20 to 30 minutes tops for Kambô. This helps us to get to know each other, basically, to see if we're in alignment, if we're going to make progress by working together. It also gives me a chance to know your medical history and your overall intentions for wanting to work with the medicine. So I gave my energy away to this woman right off the bat, and I didn't listen to myself, because as someone who serves plant medicine, someone who's a healer, someone who does energy work, someone who just helps other people in general, there is always that fine line of being of service, which means making sure, number one, that you're in the right space to serve, and what's being of service and what is just giving yourself away, letting people walk all over you, and what's sacrificing yourself too much, and being able to read between the people who are really ready to heal and who aren't can be kind of fuzzy sometimes, especially if you, as the healer, are going through your own stuff and haven't completely cleared that before entering into the space with the client, even on a phone call. So that didn't feel like me. I was in a really good mood, but I was coming up on my 30th birthday and I did have a lot on my mind. And because the second thing is I agreed to take her on a sliding scale basis. So I gave my energy again away in that way. When it was a constant trying, bringing her back in, grounding back into the space, repeating questions that didn't get answered because she would go off on in her stories, which is okay. We all do it sometimes. It's a tendency we have with the programming we have, the fear and the fight or flight that we carry, that we remain in, that happens. So one, I gave my energy away because the consultation was about 40 minutes over than it normally would be. Two, I also agreed to do a sliding scale donation-based plan with her. The third thing happened at the end of the phone call when I asked her, okay, so what time would you like to come tomorrow? Because everything sounded good. She said, yes, this feels good. I think I want to do this. I'm ready to do this. And at the end she said, well, I'd like to feel into it. Can I get back to you? Da, 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 da. That was the first real trigger for me, because my time is valuable. So I humbled myself, I calmed myself before I just said no, and I gave her a shorter window. I said, you can get back to me within this amount of time, so I have enough time to prepare. And she agreed. she got back to me within that amount of time, and the day comes for her ceremony. We've confirmed the time, and it's the day of her ceremony. I also tell her that I need to know because I have children, and my partner will need to make sure he's not at work at his paying job to take the children so I can serve her Kambô. So it's not just my schedule that's affected on the last minute, wanting to do ceremony within a day or two of contacting me. And I express this, and she gets it. She confirms that it's the day of her ceremony, and about an hour before she's supposed to show up, I receive a text message saying she needs to cancel because she's feeling the need to stay in today. So my response was very short. I just said, okay. And then the feelings were festering inside of me, and I said, no, I need to say something because this isn't okay. I just sent her another text, and as kindly as I could said, you know, for next time, with me or any other practitioner, it's really disrespectful to cancel last minute, knowing all the things I told you about what needs to happen, knowing that you're getting the medicine next to nothing for free, basically. It's just not okay to waste someone's time like that. I had the altar set up, I had my medicine out, and I received this message. Okay, so that happens, and she also says during our consultation that she'd like to do her ceremony and come to a womb ceremony, which would be the next day. She wanted to do solo first and then experience the group setting. So at the end of that text message, I said, there will be space available if you decide to show up for the womb ceremony tomorrow. The womb ceremony comes. I have 4 other women in my living room already, and we have already talked for about 20 minutes and grounded in and said hi and did all the things and set up, and now we're ready for Hape and to go into noble silence for the ceremony. I get a knock on the door, and guess who it is? I confirm who it is by her name. She's out of breath. You can tell she's just scattered. So the whole energy is thrown off. And I have to make this quick decision on if I tell her, no, you're disrespecting the ceremony space and you need to go. Probably should have done that, looking back, because that was my first instinct and feeling. Or humbling myself as to what I thought I was doing and just being of service and giving her the benefit of the doubt because, hey, she showed up, okay? That's the biggest part of the work sometimes, and the hardest is to just show up. So she showed up late and scattered, but she showed up. So we let her in, and ceremony continued with the shift of energy, restarting the circle. Moving on, it comes time for her to receive the medicine. And right off the bat, it's, okay, where's the bathroom? Where's my bucket? How many dots are you planning on putting? Because I feel I want this many. Where are you putting the placement of dots? Because I feel I want it in this place. And I was really patient with her and just explained, to trust the medicine based on what you told me. This is where I felt called to put the dots because it works really good on the gut. Since you've had the medicine a few times before, we can place them on the back meridian, on the lower back, where usually some bowel movements would happen because that's your intention. So my point is, right off the bat, she was in fear. She wasn't trusting me to give her guidance. She didn't even give me a chance. She just wanted to know the things she wanted to know, when she wanted to know them, how she wanted to know them. So I just had to direct her back and direct myself back to the procedure I was taught. I apply the dots and we move on with her ceremony. And she's very untrusting of the medicine, and she keeps asking for more dots. And she purges. She does vomit, and she gets to the bile, and she has a really good purge. So I wipe the medicine off after she's done purging, and she stops me and says, I wasn't done. And I said, yes, you're done purging, and it doesn't matter. If you still have more to purge, it'll still come out. But the medicine needs to be wiped off now. What would be the benefit of having one more dot? One more dot, one more dot. Okay, just not okay. Just not okay. We moved on with the ceremony. We closed the ceremony, and She actually set a day to come back to work with me, and I agreed because it would be one-on-one with her, so maybe we would get, a different, and this was a learning experience for me, and I'm sure for her too. So she does come for her second ceremony, and it's the same thing where she's trying to control the dots, but something actually really magical happens. She has elimination problems where she doesn't eliminate naturally usually, and she eliminates. She has a very strong bowel movement, and I'm like, yes, woohoo, aho, and after she's done, again, asks what would be the benefit of having more dots. I just feel like there's still more toxicity that needs to come out. And I said, I'm sure there is. It's not a one-time fixes all, okay? It just is not. That's just not how it works. It's about trusting the medicine. And, we did get to have a good conversation, and she said on her own, yes. I asked her, do you have expectations when you come to ceremony? She sat for a minute and said, yes, probably. There was some willingness to see, but not enough willingness to see where there would be any transformation with her. That's just the truth. So this is donation based again, and she is donating every time. I start her on a microdosing practice. She's very interested, so I offer her that medicine as well. She set an appointment to come again yesterday when I had to excuse her from the space. All I'm doing before she shows up to my house is praying that I will be in the place to serve this woman, or to remove her from the space if it's not in alignment, to show me what to do. Asking the ancestors to just show me what to do. Asking the medicine, just show me what to do. And what ended up happening was she came in, scattered. I asked her how she was doing. She gives me no answer. She has no willingness to answer. I don't know if it was the way I asked, so I kind of rephrased the question. I asked again, are you sure there's nothing you want to share about between what's happened between the last time we saw each other? How are you sleeping? Got into a little bit of that. And then I said, okay, I'm just going to ground into the space. I'm going to serve myself hape, and I'm going to get your water. I sit down, I scrape my hape, I'm setting my intention, and she says, are you okay today? As I'm setting my intention. And I take a deep breath, and I said, I'm not sure what you mean by that. It's not your job to ask me if I'm okay. I just explained what I was doing, and now you're interrupting my ceremony. Are you okay? This is just my personality, okay? She said, I come in mutuality. And I said, you come in fear and control. And it's extremely disrespectful and triggering. It affects the space. It affects people around you negatively. You say you want to come here to heal, and you say you come in mutuality. Well, I come as a mirror, and these things are worth looking into if you want to be here to heal. And she stops and she says, on the womb ceremony, I was outside of your house for 20 minutes. And I said, the root cause of this dynamic is not because you weren't able to get a hold of me when I was in the middle. At the beginning of starting a womb ceremony, you knew what time to be here for. The root cause of this is something deeper, and I'm going to excuse you from the space because now I am unable to serve you today. She says, I see that. I said, looking at yourself in this situation. You came to me. If you don't trust me, there's no point in continuing to work together. And further beyond that, if you can't learn to trust this process, the medicine, and even more so yourself, you're not going to receive the transformation that you're looking for, that you're trying to create by controlling the situation. I didn't let her get a word in. I excused her from this space because I was not in the space to receive anything more she had to say. I was completely done. So, yeah, after that I put my bare feet on the earth, smoked a little bit of ganja, did my hape, and just cleared my space and prayed, meditated. I did a lot of yoga and chanting and just tuning into this, and it actually ended up carrying over into my dream space. Not in a bad way, just where I was talking about it in my dream. She might have been part of the dream too. I don't remember the whole scenario, but I just wanted to share. I want to talk more on this page, as you who are new following me can get to know me a little better, and share some of my stories about serving this medicine, so anyone who feels called to the medicine can kind of reflect on their own feelings towards what this means for them, because it's a big step. It's not for the faint of heart, and not everyone is as ready as they may think. It's an exciting place to be, to receive this medicine, to serve this medicine. It's all can make your ego inflate, which sometimes that can be a healthy thing. But most of the time, if your spiritual ego it's going to be really hard for you to heal and to transform in the ways that deep in your heart you're worthy of doing and capable of doing. If you have that ego block, that spiritual ego block, if it's bigger than what your heart is trying to transmit to you, then it's just not going to work. And that's okay too. It might work later, or it might be the next life. Eventually you'll get it. Trust in that, at least. So that's the story. I had to excuse someone for the first time from Ceremonial Space yesterday. It does affect me in my heart. I just want everyone to know the divine power they have within them to heal themselves. And I want to fix everyone's language, including my own. I must start with my own. But if I hear I'm just in a state of fear, I'm in constant fight or flight, I have no support, when I hear that I just want you to know that that's what makes it your reality, by the way you talk about it, by commanding that, by speaking it in the present tense, in the now. That's what your story and experience will be. That's why affirmations really come into play, where they come into play, why they're so important. It takes 21 days to form a habit, and in 21 days of repeating positive affirmations, you can reprogram your whole neurological system, and that might even be more powerful than you sitting with Kambô right now, is starting with those little things.